After making hundreds of educational videos on YouTube, social media, and my own online course, I'm going to share with you 5 tips that you can use to help you be more efficient at recording videos. Hey guys, Adam here from Hustle Savvy, helping you grow your audience and build a business around your skills and passion. Making videos can be very time consuming. If you're making an online course and you're juggling with a full-time job, that's even crazier. And trust me, I know what it feels like because I'm doing it right now. My previous course had 3 hours worth of content, by the way, which is quite a lot. I started to realize how important it is to have some sort of process, some sort of workflow when it comes to recording videos and planning ahead. So here are some tips to help you with being more efficient at recording video. The first tip I have for you is to batch record. Since you take so much time to set up your lighting, your audio, your video cameras, why not record multiple videos in one shot? The logic is simple. When you are trying to squeeze as much time as you can out of your busy schedules, it's very difficult to get some quiet time. You need that quiet time not only so that you don't pick up other noises around you, let's say you have kids running around, you also need some quiet time to kind of breathe, take a step back, and give your best presentation as you are teaching via your online course videos. Imagine if something bad happens or some sort of emergency, you fall sick, for example. If you've already batch recorded your videos, at least you have the footage all done. Then you can just get someone else to edit the footage, or when you do have time, when you do recover, you don't have to go back to recording mode. You can just focus on the next task. And the key here is that task switching can be a productivity killer. Our brains are more wired to do very similar tasks back to back, and it's more efficient that way. It's just a survival mechanism. So if you can line things up that are very similar, you are more efficient and you will produce better results compared to when you're scrambling to go for another completely different task and switching gears, so to speak. In fact, I made another video about how to plan your content using Trello. So if you're interested, check out the link popping up above and also in the description below. Trust me, you want to stay organized, so this will give you a rough idea of how to sort out your next content plan. Next is to prepare a script. There's 2 reasons why this can be very, very important. Number 1, this ensures that you stay on point and don't talk about a million other things. Number 2, you don't miss out on any important points, or you forget some things that should have been included earlier. It doesn't have to be fully written sentences. It could be just bullet points that you list down, and then you can just add more things on top of that. Now, you don't really need a teleprompter. Some people have asked me this. So if you don't know, teleprompters are like those screens that will show you your script or your dialogue, and you get to directly look at the camera and read it out. I'm not using it. What I have is a second screen right here, and I might put my notes here depending on the situation and what kind of video I'm making. I might have the notes right here and just glance through it and then keep recording. I might pause my recording sometimes to just recalibrate what is the message, or sometimes just to refer back to that script. So take your time and then just keep going. Let it flow naturally. Eventually you'll get there. So this avoids a lot of mistakes that you make during recording. And when you have less mistakes, you have less to edit. When you have less to edit, you do not waste as much time. There are some structure to a script. So the basic one, I would include an intro, and then I'll list down the main points of that particular lesson of the video. And then I will also include some actionable items. Maybe in between that, I'll put some examples. And then lastly, there'll be a summary. So an example of actions, or a call to action, or CTA as some people like to call it, would be something like, for an online course, you might have a download or a particular file template that you want your students to use. So I would say something like, hey guys, download this template for the Excel spreadsheet exercise, and there will be a link for that in the lesson plan. So that way your students will know that they have an action to do, and they will then use whatever they've learned from your lesson and apply it to that particular activity. I find that action steps and CTAs are one of those things where I can really forget very easily. So I really highly recommend that you list them down in your script. The next tip I have is to plan your shots. What this means is you should be way ahead in planning your footage, and that way you'll know exactly what kind of scenes that you'll be shooting. So in the case of online courses, there's usually just several types. For example, the first one would be a talking head, which is what's happening right now. Is this me facing the camera and I'm talking? The next one is screen recording, which literally means you are recording whatever's happening on your screen, and you will then show what's happening there, usually for a step-by-step kind of tutorial or lesson, and the students get to follow along and they get to see what you're clicking on and what you're doing. The next type of footage would be slides or some sort of presentation format. This is usually using PowerPoint or Keynote. So this goes hand to hand with your script. As you're writing your script, you can have sections to kind of determine what kind of footage, what kind of shots that you need. And even though it'll be great if you know exactly what kind of shots you need, like maybe you want to screen capture a particular website to show the pricing point of certain products, or maybe you want to show a very specific image, that'll be great. But sometimes we don't know that beforehand, or maybe you just want to go through the rest of the script first. At the very least, you know what type of footage that you need. Another thing to consider when you're planning your shots is that if your course has certain types of footage that requires you to be in certain locations or a certain type of setting, it'll be great if you know that beforehand, because that way you can prepare. Especially if you're batch recording maybe a certain location, if you know beforehand that you need several shots, you can take extra shots. Having more footage can be helpful in that case, because then you don't have to halfway through editing realize, oh no, I don't have enough shots, or I should have another angle of that particular object or that person. This way it saves you some time and you have a lot of backup shots to help you out with your editing. Another tip I have is to keep recording despite your mistakes. I know, you spend so much time preparing and planning ahead, but trust me, despite all your best efforts, there might be a chance that you still fumble around your words and you still make mistakes. This happens to the best of us. Even the best coaches, the veterans out there, you know, they have more practice for sure, they have more experience, but trust me, you'll still make some mistakes. And even for me, I have enough practice, I feel, but from time to time, I think I could be better. I can do a much smoother presentation sometimes, and there are other times when it's not that smooth. It's fine. If you do make a mistake, just keep on recording. Remember, you can always edit out the mistake later, or you can replace it with a better footage. So rather than hitting pause and then starting all over again, what you should do instead is just keep on recording and start from the last line that was mentioned. So you don't have to start all the way from the beginning of a chapter or something like that. That's gonna waste too much time and it's unnecessary. You already have done a good job in the other parts of the recording. Just go straight to the last line that you screwed up and start again. Hey, since you're clicking on this video, I guess you are creating an online course. Let me know in the comment section below, what's your #1 struggle with creating online courses? I'm really curious to know. For the next tip, you need to make sure that you check your supplies. It really sucks when you have all your plans sorted out, you have allocated enough time to do recording, and then you press record and the camera just dies. Why? Because you forgot to recharge your batteries. Now, the same goes with what if you run out of space? What if you run out of memory space and you can't record any more footage? So these supplies are very important, especially for those of you who are using DSLR or you're using a mobile device to record videos. If you're using a webcam like me, and I'm just sitting here in my studio and my desktop is connected to the webcam, it's a lot easier because I have a lot of space. I don't have to worry about power supply. And on top of that, make sure you bring backups. Always have an extra memory card or two. Always have extra batteries in case one of them dies. And when I say die, I mean it could just be dead because it's time to just not be able to charge anymore. Maybe it's just something that needs to be replaced forever. You do not want to get in that situation where, for example, if you are shooting at a studio that you're renting, if you're shooting at another location that you have to drive far away or travel far away, and it really just sucks having to do that again just because you weren't prepared enough. So I recommend also making sure that you delete all footage for your memory space, and before that, make sure obviously to back them up. Back up into other existing hard drives or cloud storage that you might have, and that way you can clear all the space easily. Last but not least, make sure that to avoid mistakes, have a checklist. Especially if you're just starting out, you might be still fumbling around and forgetting things. It's very common. Or even if you are a veteran, you might be super duper busy and have a million things in your head that you still forget things anyway. So my recommendation is print out a checklist or have it in your phone or on your computer somewhere, and then have a look at it before you are going out, or even better, the day or night before. Make sure you go through that list to make sure that you have all the backups and charge all the batteries and any other supplies that you will need for your video recording. Watch this next if you want to look for a camera that's easy to use to create online courses, and this one right here will teach you how to be more confident in front of the camera. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.